So when it comes to building muscle, we want to look good, right? We want to build muscle so we look jacked, feel confident, look good in clothes, take your shirt off on the beach and just look masculine and feel cool, right? So when you go on a bulk, no one really wants to be gaining body fat. We don't want to be like, yeah, I got loads of muscle, but you can't really see it and I've got a belly and I just, don't really want to take my shirt off actually, now that I've gained all this muscle. And unfortunately, a lot of people just kind of jump on this dirty bulk and they gain loads of body fat and they don't look as good as they thought they would and they don't feel as confident and they just don't like their physique at the end of it. But there's also this kind of lingering thing like, oh, maybe I should go on a cut, but if I go on a cut, maybe I'll lose all my strength and gains. And maybe you've tried doing a cut and then you do lose a bit of your strength and gains. So you think, better get back on this bulk. And then you kind of just add a bit more muscle, but also a bit more fat. And in fact, I've actually been through this exact thing myself where I've gone on a bulk and I'll be honest with you, it was a dirty bulk where I just ate anything I wanted to get the calories in. And it worked all right for a little while. And then I started to get fat and then I just really didn't want to go on a cut because I didn't think I was big enough yet. So I kept bulking and bulking and bulking and I just ended up getting fat. And then I remember going out with some friends and one of my friends got a new camera and he's pissing about with it and he took a picture of me. I was like, oh yeah, cool, let's have a look. And I was like, okay, there's more than one chin there and I got side boob, which I've never seen before, and there's no definition in my arms. Crap. Yeah, I've just gotten fat. And it knocked my confidence big time. Let me just caveat this by saying, obviously don't be scared of gaining body fat on a bulk, because if you do that, you're never going to bulk properly, of course, right? But there's no point gaining massive amounts of body fat straight away. I have seen people start on a bulk, and then within 2 months, 3 months, they look like a, Zuma wrestler. And they're like, yeah, bulk's going good, perma bulk, yep. And later on down the line, they then posted on Facebook like, yeah, mental health's taken a decline. I just got lazy with food. I use it as an excuse to keep bulking. I went into powerlifting because power belly, and then they're miserable and they're like trying to figure out how to fix it. And I'm saying that from experience, and I'm saying that from what I've seen. I've also been a coach in the fitness industry for over 10 years now, so I've seen plenty of it. So that begs the question, how do you bulk without gaining body fat? And truth be told, I started this stuff when I was 14. I'm 32 now. I only kind of figured out where I was going wrong and what to do by around 26, 27, which is a little bit crazy. So when people start on a bulk, what do, right? They just go, right, I need to eat in a surplus. So they're going to do one of two things. You're either just going to add loads of meals and eat 6 meals, 8 meals, 10 meals a day and just eat loads and say, hey, I'm bulking, I've just got to get all my meals in. And of course that's going to work because inevitably you're going to be eating enough to be in a calorie surplus, right? And that's pretty old school, pretty cool, all good. But because you're adding all these meals, what you don't realize is you're probably in a massive surplus. And the bigger the surplus, the more likelihood of you gaining body fat. There's only so much muscle you can gain from a surplus. People think, oh, right, eat big, get big, which is true, obviously, because if you're not eating enough, you won't grow. That is a fact. But if you're eating thousands of calories into a surplus, you're just going to gain body fat quicker than you want, which means the life of the bulk is short. You're going to look worse throughout the bulk. You're not going to be feeling very good. You're going to be very unhealthy long term. It's a lot of strain and stress on the body to process that much. And then at the end of it, you're going to have this mammoth of a cut waiting for you, which 9 times out of 10, if you've been bulking for that long, you're like, I don't want to go on a cut. It's going to take me a year, 2 years to get all this body fat off, and I'm going to lose all my gains and get weak and look like shit. No, I ain't doing it. And then people just stay fluffy and big for the year. And if that's what you want to do, that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Go and be a powerlifter, right? You're going to be strong as hell. However, most people, and again, if you're watching this right now, you probably don't want to gain body fat if you're on a bulk. Maybe you're skinny fat and you're trying to build muscle without the body fat. And then, of course, the second thing is, people track their calories and they would just suddenly spunk their calories right up to like 4,000, 5,000 calories. You go, yeah, bulking, bro, even though their maintenance is like 2,000. So they're just going way, way, way over. And again, I see it all the time. And look, I'm not trying to sound all high and mighty because I've made this mistake for years. I've done it loads. And I thought, why am I constantly every year gaining all this body fat and then reluctantly going on a cut that inevitably takes longer than I thought? And then I'm getting back to square one and going, no, I actually look the same. I think I've just taken 2 steps forward and then 2 steps back. So I need to sort some out. And I even know some really, really high level coaches that are very good, very knowledgeable, but they still have this old school approach of bulk cut. And they've looked the same for the past 6 years, which they're openly admit. And they're like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm going on a bulk and I'm gaining all this muscle. And then I'm going on a cut and losing all this muscle. And I look the bloody same. Like I literally weigh the same at the same body fat. What's going on? Let me just break this down then. As I said earlier, the bigger the surplus does not mean the bigger the gains. Because that's what I thought. Because I'm so skinny and I start off so small and I'm still small and I still want to get bigger. So I thought, right, I need to eat loads, right? I need to eat loads, 4,000, 5,000 calories. And then, like I said, I was get fat. A smaller surplus, reality is you only need what? 200, 300 calories surplus to really gain muscle, right? To keep lean muscle, to grow. Any more than that, in excess, you're probably going to start to gain body fat slowly, but it will happen. So you don't really want 1,000 calories, 2,000 calorie surplus because it's not healthy and you're just going to speed up the fat gain. So if you're aiming for a smaller calorie surplus, 300, 500 calories, you're going to be in a surplus to grow muscle, but it's a smaller surplus, so it's going to be leaner gains throughout. Now, as you gain muscle and as you get bigger and as you get stronger, you obviously are going to have to increase that number. So the best way to make sure you're getting this right is to track your calories. Have your numbers, know your numbers, track them, review them, and adjust them. Sounds like a faff, but it literally takes just a few seconds. You just go on MyFitnessPal, go right, 100 grams of chicken, 250 grams of rice, fucking cup of tea, whatever it is, bosh, tracked it, done. And if you eat the same sort of stuff every day, you just tap it from the next day and it's there. It takes literally 30 seconds. At least that way you go to bed knowing that you've hit your target, you're going to make some gains, and then when it starts to slow down, you're like, I'm not sure if I'm getting any bigger or stronger now. You go, cool, I can add 200 calories. I can increase my protein, I can increase my carbs. Whereas if you're not tracking and you're just guessing, you're just going to keep eating whatever. I'll have pizza, I'll have a bagel. And it sounds good because it's easy, it's lazy, and it's, all the science bros be like, hey bro, just eat big to get big, bro. Yeah, cool. But, truth be told, a lot of people that are going to say that are on steroids, right? And if they're on steroids, they're already anabolic. They're already growing. So even if they eat roughly around their calories, if they eat loads of shit, they're going to be growing regardless. So it's not necessarily their diet that's paying off. I'm talking towards the natties, right? The guys that have to build it from scratch. So of course you need to know these numbers. Now I always have a free nutritional blueprint in my bio so that you can download it for free. And that just means you can work out your numbers, know it's correct, and then in there it will also suggest how and when to adjust them and what macros to set. It's completely free. It's just there to make sure that you get your numbers right, because from the age of 14 to about 20, I made 0 gains, no progress. Here's what I looked like, right? Terrible. 6 years. And I was fuming because I was eating big to get big, right? I was eating chicken, broccoli, and rice every freaking meal. I was drinking mass gainer shakes that were very expensive and made me feel like shit. And I was training about 5-6 days a week, right? Properly training as well. I was really good with my training. But I still looked like this. And the reason for that is, even though I was eating big to get big, I actually wasn't hitting my calorie target. I was still just below maintenance because I was training so much. I was spending so many calories. And obviously, being 14 to about 20, metabolic rate is through the roof. I was also doing kickboxing. So I was spending so much calories that I wasn't getting enough. And because I was eating all these clean foods, just wasn't enough to grow. That's why I'm constantly going about tracking your numbers, because if someone came along and said, hey, watch this video and show me this now, said, here, work out your numbers, hit these numbers and track them, I would have made insane progress around that time. Imagine 6 years of tracking and hitting your numbers, and every time it slows down, you increase them and change them. My God, I'd look 10 times better than I look now. So that's what this video is for. It's to help you cut for the bullshit and all the wasted time. So I've kind of covered the calorie side of things. You want a smaller calorie surplus. Now, of course, you could say, what about going 300 calories? Is that going to help me make lean gains? And yeah, of course, that's a great number. But anytime you're tracking calories, there's always going to be a little bit of margin of error, right? Maybe you miscalculated the cereal you had. Maybe you've eaten out and you're not sure what the calories are. If your surplus is only this big, like 100, 200 calories, and you're too worried about body fat, you're probably going to end up maintaining. So I always aim for 500 calories. Hit 500 calories, monitor your weigh-ins, monitor your photos, monitor your performance, monitor everything you can. And then every week, see if you need to increase it. And over time, you will have to increase it. I've had clients where, we haven't had to increase it for like 4 or 5 months, which means they've got gains, but they've kept it super lean. Whereas if they weren't reviewing it, they might just go, oh, maybe I should eat more. And they would just gain body fat. Whereas on the flip side, I've had clients that they adapt really quickly. They hit a calorie target, 3 weeks later, we do need to increase it. So if we weren't tracking and if we weren't reviewing it, they would just be wasting time and going backwards. Either they wouldn't make the adjustments when they need to, or they would just end up, overdoing it and gaining body fat. So that's kind of the calorie side of things. And the majority of this video is about the calories because that really is the be all end all when it comes to really doing this right. Fat people are fat because they've eaten too much food. Skinny people are skinny because they, don't eat enough or they do too much. The energy balance really is key. And that's why I get so annoyed with all these videos like, oh, put butter in your tea, it helps you lose weight. Oh, have this food, it helps you lose weight. It's like, it doesn't. The calorie energy balance is the golden rule. You can talk about microbiomes and all this rubbish, and all these things have their place, don't get me wrong. Meal timing is helpful. The quality of the protein you're having is very important. And obviously your sleep and water intake, all these things are still important. But if your calories aren't right, you're not going to get the result you want. So that's why I go on and on about the calories, because that's what I need to drill in. Because 9 times out of 10, a client will hire me, we work with them, we look at the numbers, and the numbers are whack. They're way off. And I'm like, damn, they've been putting in effort for years. And if these numbers were tweaked right, they'd be seeing really good results. So that's normally, that's also why I became an online coach, to be quite honest with you. I used to be a PT in a gym and I really enjoyed it and we got some good results in there. But we're talking about the training, we're going through reps and sets and overload and all this kind of stuff and checking the form. And then once they've got that settled, it's like, damn, now you need to be focusing on your food, but we're in the gym counting reps, so we can't really go about the food and you're not going to get the best results. And then as soon as I took people online and we went through the food and the training, they got 10 times better results, complete transformation. I mean, look, I mainly work with men, but let me just show you this client here, Alex. She worked with, the Beachbody coaches, which is like basically Herbalife, but for coaching. She also tried keto, she tried gym classes, she tried starving herself, she tried all these crazy things, right? To the point where she was thinking, do you know what? I'm going to get weight loss surgery. Now, thankfully, she was following my band and she saw that I was a coach and then reluctantly reached out and said, hey, look, shot in the dark. I'm at my wit's end. This is the last chance. let me just give this one more thing a go. Thank God she did, because she has lost over 160 pounds and counting, probably more than that now. And she's eaten a good amount of food to do that. She hasn't had to starve herself. She just focused on tracking her calories, tracking the workouts, and we adjusted it and reviewed it and went through it together. Obviously, the accountability helps you stay on track, but she's managed to make an amazing transformation, literally insane. No surgery, no drugs, no fads, no Ozempic, no all that rubbish. And it's sustainable. Now she can eat more food and she's not going to suddenly go backwards because she's built her physique, not borrowed it. So I know that's not necessarily relevant to bulking without gaining body fat, but I'm just trying to really drill home the point of how important knowing your numbers is, because it makes or breaks the physique. So if you want to make sure you know your numbers, download that nutritional blueprint, because it's the exact same method I use for my clients. Now, of course, if you're bulking and you're trying to gain muscle, your training is incredibly important. You know, you could argue that if you're trying to lose body fat, your training isn't as important because you just got to move more and eat less, essentially. But if you're trying to grow and gain muscle naturally, you have to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. You have to stimulate, you know, an increase in testosterone and growth hormone through your training. You have to break down your muscle tissue manually and then optimize your recovery and calorie intake to repair and grow that muscle slightly bigger. So your training needs to tick that box. There needs to be significant overload for that to happen. And training, I'll be honest with you, can get quite complicated. I mean, just watch any Jeff Nippard video, who's amazing, by the way. Like, I've yet to see him say anything I disagree with. So, you know, if you want to get deep into training, definitely watch him if you're not already. I assume you already are. But training can get quite complicated. So what I try and do with my clients, I try and simplify it to the basic minimums, because most people are very busy. You know, if you're working a 9 to 5 and you're doing loads of work and you've got kids and you're running around, you're busy, you haven't really necessarily got time to sit there and be super optimal with everything. So it's easy just to make things simple and something you can stick to and then focus on key metrics of overload. So if you're trying to bulk and gain muscle but keep it lean, we need to really optimize muscle hypertrophy training, which is, of course, you know, decent amount of volume, decent amount of time under tension, anywhere between like 6 all the way up to 15 reps, sort of sweet spot 8 to 12. A lot of people overthink this and panic, think, oh, I got 11, is that okay? Bottom line is, are you pushing your body past what is currently used to doing? This is again why I talk about tracking. I actually have a friend who been training about the same time as me, and he didn't track, and he was kind of plateauing for a while. And I said, mate, just track your workouts. He's like, nah, it's fine, I know what I'm doing. A few years went by, he didn't make any progress. He tracked for a few months, made a lot of progress, and now he won't shut up about it, right? He's like, mate, this is amazing. He goes, I've gone to the gym, I've done this amount of weight on a deadlift, and I thought it was rubbish, and I was really annoyed with myself, and then I logged it and realized I actually added 20 kg compared to last week, and I didn't even realize it. So I've actually overloaded, and now I'm seeing results and I'm getting stronger. So tracking's really powerful. It helps with your focus. It helps you know that things are paying off, and it means that if something stops working, you know what to change. Most people just go to the gym, slap about some weights, drink a protein shake, have all the creatine supplements, yeah mate, gym mate, and they might get a few gains in the first few weeks because it's all new, and then they hit a plateau, and then they're on YouTube searching videos like this. So with the training, it's very difficult to say, without knowing you directly, it's very hard to say, hey, just do this, mate, because you can't just cookie cutter and blanket statement training. You know, for example, I got a very crap chest, I got quite long arms, so bench press is a weak point for me, and my chest is a weak point. So I need to train really specifically and technically for my chest to grow, to focus on key metrics, otherwise it won't grow. Whereas I've got friends who've got the opposite problem, their chest grows, and they're trying to build their shoulders, and they're doing shoulder press, and their chest is still growing from it. So we all got different biomechanics, genetics, builds, so your workout routine will inevitably have to adapt to your preferences. But let me just bottom line it to make it simple for, you know, because you might be a complete beginner, you might have been training for a long time. Point being is pick the main movements that you can do frequently throughout the week. There's no point putting a deadlift in your workout plan if you can only train Monday 8 o'clock, because you can go to the gym, it's going to be absolutely heaving, and the chance of you getting on a deadlift is 0, right? Or 1%. Then that has a knock-on effect. It's going to be busy, and you're going to think, oh, I ain't going to go to the gym tonight because it's going to be busy, I can't get on the deadlift, so no point. And then you talk yourself out of it. So instead of setting yourself up to fail, think, okay, well, every time I go to the gym, I know I can get on the bent over rows, I can get on the lat pull downs, I can do this and this. Okay, cool. Pick one of each angle, one of each movement, go for 3 to 4 sets, 8 to 12 reps, and track it. And then if you get, oh, I've got 4 sets of 12, cool, then you probably need to go up in weight on that movement, right? If you're like, oh, actually, I can barely get 3 sets of 8, cool, maybe you need to go lighter, maybe you need to take your time, maybe you need to get more fit and conditioned by doing more of it. Either way, if you're tracking your workouts and making sure there's some form of progressive overload over time, and you're pairing that with a slight calorie surplus of good amounts of protein, you're literally 90% of the way there. You know, yes, you can focus on your meal timing, your supplementation, your recovery times, your sleep. There's obviously a lot that can go into it, but if you're struggling to know what to do next, I want to try and help these videos get to the point and show you what to do. So gaining muscle without body fat, we want to make sure we're doing 2 things: tracking your calories and eating in a slight surplus that you will adjust over time, and track your workouts so you know that you're progressively overloading over time, because both these things will plateau. Your body will get used to them over time. If you're not tracking and you see some results and it stops working, you're either going to get fed up and fall off and drop the ball, or you're just going to keep eating loads of calories and slowly get fat and look back at yourself and go, oh shit, what have I done? So hopefully this video is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. You can follow me at Elite Transformation Project on Instagram, and you can also drop me any messages if you have any questions. Make sure you got your nutritional blueprint to at least make sure that your food is correct, because that will make or break your progress, especially if you want to gain muscle and keep it lean. And if you really want to just skip through all the rubbish and just get straight to the point, you can work with me one-to-one online coaching just by hitting the link in the bio. You can book a call with me, you can have a quick chat and see if I can help you out.